Again, the things that I'm talking about are not in any priority here, and I want to make that explicit. I don't think that this is of high priority to talk about Tom Cotton. I don't. I think it is of a priority. Is it of a high priority? No, I don't. But I think it is of a priority of some kind, and I saw this in my feed, and so I'm going to comment on it. And so this is Tom Cotton. He uploaded this on his Senate account on YouTube. I'm going to subscribe to him. I think it's useful. So this is an 8-minute video. I'm going to play it on like 1.25x, and I'm probably just going to let it play the whole time. Tom Cotton is someone who has already been laying the groundwork for a 2024 presidential campaign. And so he is going to use this moment to kickstart that 2024 presidential campaign. He's going to use this moment to distance himself from the Trumpism inside the Republican Party while still claiming to be a Republican, even though those two things are the same. And this is what he's going to say the day after that his president that he voted for tried to destroy the United States government.
He's a U.S. veteran. Senator, good morning to you.
Morning, Steve.
On this Thursday morning, as we look in the rearview mirror about what happened yesterday, what do you want to say to the American people about the debacle on Capitol Hill?
Steve, I want to say that mob violence is never an acceptable form of political expression. Last summer, a lot of critics on the left said that I should not have said that we should use all available means to law enforcement to put down mob violence when insurrectionists gripped our streets, even if that meant sending in the troops. Yesterday, though, there's no difference. It shouldn't matter what kind of signs the mob carries before they become violent. There's no acceptable basis for mob violence.
You want to know, actually, Tom, what the difference was? The difference between those two things is one is an organic uprising of people that have had enough of being shot and killed by the cops. The other is a group of entitled middle class to upper class. Again, these are not DC residents. When DC residents come out in support of Black Lives Matter because they don't want to get shot, they live there. These people flew from all across the country to this rally. Donald Trump has been telling everyone to fly to DC for January 6th. He's been telling people to do that for months. He said to go to Washington on January 6th and we're going to stop the steal. He's been saying this for months. Ever since he lost the election, really? So to say that those two things are equivalent is ridiculous. And also, it's ludicrous that the law enforcement that tear gassed and murdered protesters over the course of the summer was nowhere to be found at the Capitol. The heart of American democracy, as these people call it. There were no law enforcement officials anywhere to be found. Right? That's why a Trump supporter was shot and killed. Because a Secret Service agent was in the midst of a chaotic situation, didn't know what was going on, probably was wondering where the rest of the cops were, and saw a bunch of angry people try to come after them and the people that they work for. So, where were the cops? You keep saying you're pro-law enforcement, send in the troops. Why did the Pentagon refuse to send in National Guard? Why, Tom Cotton? Well, let's see if he comments on it.
Violence in this country for political purposes. I want to express my gratitude to all those frontline Capitol police officers who protected senators, helped frail senators evacuate from the chamber, who tried to defend the perimeter of the Capitol and then cleared the Capitol of all of these insurrectionists. I'm grateful for them and the work that all the other law enforcement agencies that were called in to do to protect not just senators and representatives, but the staff and the support workers that we have around the Capitol.
Yep.
The Senate was delivered to the Democrats yesterday. Ossoff ended up beating Perdue, and that was announced yesterday afternoon or last night. And many Republicans are worried about what that means for the progressive movement. What do Republicans plan to do to ensure that some of these radical agendas are not passed?
Radical.
Yeah, Ainsley, obviously I'm disappointed that my good friends and great senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue didn't make it across the finish line. But
Now, again, I want to be explicitly clear. Tom Cotton is going to say that the Republicans that objected to the results are bad. And then he's also going to call those that were planning to object, those that were debatably the closest to Trump in the Senate because of the election. Oh, they're my good friends. They're my good friends. Oh, yeah. It's a shame that my good friends were trying to break the law and destroy democracy, but hey, they're my good friends. What are you going to do?
But congratulations to the Democrats for their victory. This is going to be a very, very closely divided Congress. It's literally evenly divided in the Senate, 50-50 now. And in the House, the Democrats have one of the smallest margins in modern times. So what the Republicans need to do now that this election is behind us is to focus on the radical agenda of the Democrats, because they're coming in with a plan to raise your taxes and to defund the police, to slash military spending, to open our borders, and we cannot allow that to happen.
Well, Tom Cotton, why is defunding the police so bad? Like, we don't have any as it is. So, what are you gonna, like, might as well just chop off the rest of the fucking Hydra and get some fucking healthcare, some stimulus, right? Where's the cops? Oh, right. Right. Here were the cops. They were letting in the fascists. Right. I forgot.
Happen. And we've got to organize, and we've got to concentrate on protecting everything that we believe and that we think is good for this country.
Senator, this wasn't a surprise that the Democrats thought they had an opportunity to take both seats, even though they were underdogs. You had Purdue with a commanding lead, 88,000 votes at least, and the other, Loeffler, the same thing, was in a command position. You were on the ground, I think, first week in November, saying, hey, this is a big election. How did you guys blow it?
Yeah, Brian, it's very disappointing that we lost the races, given the stakes of the races. I think a very simple and very clear message over the last 2 months would have been that Senators Perdue and Loeffler and a Republican Senate majority will provide a check and balance on the Biden administration. However, we spent too much time on other matters rather than that clear and simple matter of saying that Senators Perdue and Senators Loeffler and a Republican majority
It's almost like when your president that you voted for, that you endorsed, was saying that the election was stolen. It's almost like that idea, oh, they're going to be a stopgap against the Biden presidency. But when 50% of Republicans don't believe that Biden is going to be president, they're not going to go do that. You dumb piece of garbage, motherfucking clown-eared motherfucker.
Be that check and balance. But look, we can't just give up now because we lost. We got to pick ourselves up off the electoral playing field and dust ourselves off and get back going in the game. Because as I said, the Democrats have extremely small margins, but they have an extremely radical agenda, and we've got to be prepared to provide a check and balance on that agenda and get ready for the next election, which is always just 2 years away.
Sure. No doubt about it. Down there in Georgia, Stacey Abrams and company was very effective in mobilizing and registering people. I've been reading a lot of Republican and conservative commentators who say that one of the problems for Republicans was the fact that the president, while he voiced full support of the Republican candidates, at the same time, he was trying to blow up the Georgia governor and the Secretary of State, and he was confusing the people down there, saying the election was rigged and it was stolen from him. I know yesterday there in the U.S. Senate, you withdrew any objections because you wanted to go forward after the violence that was happening there. You also say that people need to quit misleading people about what happened on Election Day.
Yes, Steve, first off, let me correct one thing there. I was never planning to object to any of the certified slates of electors. It's not Congress's role to...
Well, yeah, you don't need to object, Tom. Your good friends did it for you. That's what this whole thing is. They only needed one senator to sign off on an objection. You only need one. So why would Tom Cotton go out there when your good friends, Kelly and David, oh, they're your friends, your pals, your beer buddies. What? When they do it for you, who cares?
Versus the election results from Election Day.
Sorry, you felt that people should withdraw their objections.
Yeah, look, you have some senators who, for political advantage, were giving false hope to their supporters, misleading them into thinking that somehow yesterday's actions in Congress could reverse the results.
Yourself, Tom Cotton, included. Being a Republican and not being vociferously anti-Trump created this situation. Anytime you voted with Donald Trump, anytime you endorsed Donald Trump, anytime you campaigned with Donald Trump, anytime you said anything nice about Donald Trump, you enabled what happened. But this guy's going to pretend it wasn't me. It was just my good friend. My best friend did it instead. It's not me. It's my best friend. Great argument.
Election, or even get some kind of emergency audit of the election results. That was never going to happen. Yet these senators, as insurrectionists, literally stormed the Capitol, were sending out fundraising emails. That shouldn't have happened, and it's got to stop now. Now, we
again, those senators and those representatives are insurrectionists. Send them all to prison. Now, again, I said this before. I think the Republican Party should be declared a terrorist organization, and I think every Republican should go to prison. However, I'm willing to compromise. I'm going to pull out my Obama bootstraps here. I'm willing to compromise. Every senator and every representative who objected or was going to object, even if they withdrew, doesn't matter. Oh, I shot you in the face, but I put the gun away afterward. Okay? Well, you still shot someone in the face, so the crime was still there. So the people that incited this insurrection should all be held accountable and all be sent to prison. That's my compromise. That's my minimum position. That is my minimum position. I will accept nothing less, happily, than to see every senator and every representative that objected to these things going to prison. Expel them from Congress. Send them to Guantanamo.